I love crossovers. I'm a fan of them in the littlest of ways. After I leave the theater and I start to think about the movie a little bit more and more over time, the excitement wears off a little. But that doesn't mean that I don't love seeing action figures get smashed together like when I was a kid. This year, Marvel and DC have some exciting crossovers coming out, and they aren't all entirely what we'd expect. And this has lit a spark of excitement in the comic community as this hasn't happened in decades. But it's not just Marvel and DC who have lost interest in the idea of their characters crossing over. In the early 2000s and before, we had a lot of moments like this, whether it be with Marvel and DC specifically, like we saw in their comics, maybe Alien vs. Predator where they had movies but also mini comics, or in Kevin Smith movies where there's some tangentially related things, and then even smaller within Quentin Tarantino movies. But we obviously have our holy grail example.
Bring on Beyonce. Where's that biatch?
The idea that Freddy vs. Jason's release didn't cause the Earth to be swallowed by a black hole was pretty incredible to me. The movie has pitfalls like the Jason design, inexplicably making Jason afraid of water,
Oh my god, bro.
and whatever this guy is. But we get multiple fights between two characters, cool interactions between them that are mostly in character, and scenes that fit within the genre, which is more than we can say for this versus movie. I'll get over it one day. So if we lived in a perfect world, which we don't, we had really great characters, which we do, we had the ability to put those characters together hypothetically, which we can, which characters will be put together in these movies? Which I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to give a list as well as a small pitch for characters from two separate worlds either teaming up or going head to head together in a movie. I want to try to avoid the idea of them just being action figures that we smash together, although that's going to happen obviously. And put together characters whose ideals or entire reasons for being clash or go in sync perfectly. There's also a big surprise that I'll talk about at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Freddy Krueger and Candyman are diametrically opposed in their points of view, but are alike in their goals. Kind of. Freddy was killed by a mob of people for murdering kids and being a piece of crap, while Candyman was killed because he's a black man that loved a white woman. As simple as that. But their vengeance is fueled by a desire to get back what they loved in their previous life. Helen is essentially a reincarnation of Candyman's original love. He wants to convert her over to where he is now in life so they can be together forever. At least, I think. The movie's a little confusing. Freddy's original goal revolved around getting revenge upon the people who killed him through their kids. At the end of the day though, they have a similar goal, and they face the same issue. Their lifeline is dependent on how much people fear them. If or when their legends cease to exist, either through being lost to time or intentional cover-ups at the hands of the town, they disappear. They live outside the regular bounds of reality, they gaslight and incite fear, and cause their victims to not know what is real and what is fake, and that could be such a good crutch for horror. The main issue with teaming Jason up against one of these guys is that, at the end of the day, he's essentially a groundskeeper. He's a lost dog that kills anyone in his sight, whether it be on a boat, a spaceship, or best case scenario, at Camp Crystal Lake. Freddy has ideas of where he wants to go, and using Jason as a pawn is interesting for sure, but when we need Jason to have an idea of what he wants to do, it's not there, or if it is, it's paper thin. Also, when Freddy is brought into the real world to fight Jason, he should get mopped. He's a 5'10", 50-year-old janitor against essentially an immortal pro wrestler. So when you get Candyman together with Freddy, they could both be racing to the same goal. But they both need the same thing, and if one is in the lead, the other isn't getting as much fear as they need to survive.
You're nothing.
My general idea for the plot of the movie is admittedly very similar to Freddy vs. Jason, but now it's two intelligent characters, which I think makes it a little bit more interesting. So starting off, a black man is wrongfully killed in the town of Springwood. An attempted cover-up of this happens through the police department, but social media is everywhere. The killing and eventual cover-up sparks the legend of Candyman to be talked about again, a story that only happened one state over. But if a similar case can happen today, what was covered up during a time when there weren't smartphones everywhere? Didn't a cover-up of vigilante justice kill a man just decades ago? Well, Freddy is now brought into the conversation. One thing that the 2009 Freddy remake did that was a little bit interesting is bringing up the idea that maybe Freddy was innocent, and his death was just by the hands of a rage-fueled mob mentality group of parents. Freddy is now brought back, Candyman is now brought back, and they're both excited, of course, at the idea that they might be able to survive, but Freddy dips his nasty little metal fingers into the dreams of the wrong person. Candyman's beloved. They duke it out within the dream realm playing tennis with the body count. Freddy could pretend to be Candyman, only to turn into something a little bit more terrifying. These characters are rich with subtext and interesting conversations could be made of it, but they also have a ton of scare value within their abilities inherently. Unfortunately, Tony Todd couldn't reprise the role and Robert Englund wouldn't be interested. But this is something that could be animated, which is something I've always rooted for within horror. Moving on to the next one, this one's just freaking cool. The Predator is an ultimate badass whose whole purpose is finding and defeating the ultimate predator, just like that really cool Kraven the Hunter movie that we all watched and loved. And who better in horror than Jeepers Creepers? He can't be killed, and if he can be, it was in a shit movie by a shit person that we all don't want to watch. It's funny that I'm pitching a movie about a predator fighting the creeper who was invented by a creepy predator. Anyways, imagine the predator somehow finds the life cycle of this creature and knowingly has to kill it. We know that the Predator has been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and we know the same thing applies for the Creeper. Maybe it's a movie broken up into multiple decades where we see the Predator take the Creeper on multiple times due to its life cycle, but then ultimately comes back to life as it's known to do and wreaks havoc on the ship or the planet that it wakes up on. Similar to how Wolverine fought the Predator decades before but doesn't really remember it, maybe the Predator comes to Earth every couple of years to fight the Creeper and clocks in like it's a job. We could also see some crazy combination of things the Creeper could turn into and gain from the Predator's physiology. The fights could be legendary, gory, and with how differing their power sets are, we could get some really interesting choreography. Like I said before, the movie could be set in multiple places too. A fish out of water scenario for the Creeper could extend or shorten its life cycle based on the planet. Or the Predator could come to Earth and fight the Creeper, and his weird-ass truck would have to go up against space technology. I said in the beginning of the video that I don't really want to just put two action figures together and smash their heads, but the idea that these creatures might be able to fight against each other based on their already existing goals does interest me within the universe. Now, this next pick is something that's probably the easiest, cheapest, and most fun on the list for me. We start the movie off with a young kid coming down the stairs on Christmas. Under the tree, there isn't much, the family's poor, but one special thing is ripped open. A good guy doll. The dad had one as a kid, this kid is obsessed with vintage toys, and the mom finds it a little bit creepy. From here, the parents apologize that money has been so tight lately, but there's a reason for it. Maybe something along the lines of, money's been tight lately, but it's for a reason. We have decided to adopt a kid, here's your little sister, Esther. At this point, the tension ramps because we know what both Esther and Chucky are capable of, even though the characters don't. The movie is less of a versus and more of a whodunit. We see bodies adding up and one parent believes it's 100% Chucky, while the other believes it's 100% Esther. Of course, the emotional stakes are raised and it tears the family apart, but on top of that, we get to see hijinks between Esther and Chucky, who both see and know of each other's antics, but are both competing to stay within the home. Chucky wants to be here to take over the kid's body, and Esther probably wants to be here for some weird sexual fantasy like she always does. The audience could be confused alongside the family, and we could see who the ultimate deceiver is between these two characters, as their secret identities are their ultimate weapon, but their egos get the best of them, and they always reveal themselves. Isabel Fuhrman could still bring this character to life for a couple more years, and so could Brad Dourif. I think Don Mancini is still the correct writer for this, as he understands the sexual subtext that he could write for Esther, but also Chucky better than anyone. I think that Greg Jardin did an amazing job on It's What's Inside, so as far as directing goes, I'm going to put him in the chair. The visual clues and innuendos keep what could be a confusing script on track, and with how I'm envisioning the movie to be a whodunit, I think that he would do the best job. Moving on to the final pitch, I think that Jason Voorhees and Angela from Sleepaway Camp would be a great pairing. Jason is my favorite slasher, and while I've always watched and enjoyed horror, I attribute 2 summers ago watching the Sleepaway Camp series as the beginning of my obsession with the genre, and what it might have to offer me. The short idea of this is that Angela is back. She has approached Camp Crystal Lake as her new killing spot with a couple of newfound friends. Angela's whole life she's been a loner. At this point, she wants to find somebody that meets in the middle with her as far as like-mindedness and ideals. Upon the return of Jason though, she might be turning her head to someone that agrees with her already. With Jason back and tearing through the camp, our main characters have to fight their way through these trying times to defeat him, while Angela lurks right under their nose waiting for her moment to strike. So, this is that special surprise I was talking about at the beginning of the video. I've actually fully fleshed out this idea within the screenplay already. It is my first screenplay, so as far as formatting and structure, I might not have done it correctly at all, but if you'd like to give me comments, good or bad, I'd really love to hear what you have to think. I think that there's some fun action, fun comedy, and scary moments within it. But as I've never done it before, I might not have painted the picture as well for a reader as I did in my head.
Can't just sculpt willy-nilly. You gotta go by the book. Follow the rules.
Again, I would love feedback, and if you could put those in the comments below and take your time, I would really appreciate it. Horror is the perfect place to let heavy hitter big characters meet, as it allows action, comedy, tension, and gore in the most ridiculous of ways while seeing character growth and growth with money at the box office. Most of these might be too niche for the general audience to care about.
Identify yourself! Who the fuck are you?
But if properly adapted, I think that all of these pitches would do well. But what do you think? And what's your pitch for 2 characters crossing over? Leave those in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, share it around. Otherwise, thank you for watching.